on the Hypertard. Had to stop and get some vape juice for my wife. So, I got a few things to go off about, and I got a few things to tell y'all about. It's a really nice day out right now. It's been pretty damn cold lately, and I don't know, I just haven't been riding that much. But I've got my Hyper running, I got my 250 running, and my 450 still needs exhaust, so that may be a little while. That was an expensive mistake. I wouldn't call it a mistake, you know, because when you do stupid shit like drive out of a fucking boat, you accept the fact that you're probably going to fuck shit up. But anyways, here goes. So the first thing I got is, I was going through Denton today, and on 380 they have, this may not make any sense to some of y'all, but some of y'all are like, yeah, I'm following you, totally know what you're talking about. They have it closed down to one lane going each way, where usually it's 2 lanes going each way, and the traffic is just backed up. And I get an hour for lunch, which is quite a bit, but if you want to go somewhere that's like pretty good, you got to drive through town basically. And I pulled up next to this guy on a Repsol CBR, and we're sitting there in traffic for a little while, and he looked at me and he goes, let's get the fuck out of here. And I was like, alright. So he darts off in front of me, and we start cutting down the middle lane at about 45 miles an hour, and all the traffic was stopped. So we're riding down the chicken lane like hauling ass. We blew through a couple intersections, and then we get up to an intersection that's got some traffic at it, because there's a turn lane there. So we're cutting in between where the cars are and where the cars are in the turn lane. And as soon as we get up to the very front, lane splitting, the frickin' light turns green. And for those of you who aren't keeping track, or from a different country or state or whatever, lane splitting's not at all legal in Texas for any fucking reason right now. They're trying to get it to where if the cars are moving under 20, you can do it, which would be pretty damn good. But anyways, so we're basically flying down the chicken lane, splitting lanes. We come to a light, and as soon as we get up to the very front, the light turns green. So we just blow through the intersection. I look to my left, and there's a state trooper waiting there. He's facing the other way. And I didn't slow down very much, neither did the guy in front of me. But I was like, I'm getting the fuck off this road in case the guy turns around. So that was pretty fucking exciting. I don't think he turned around, but I got the fuck out of there regardless. So anyway, and this weekend, I went looking at some new vehicles. I don't really know what I'm gonna get. It looks like everything I want's pretty much in the $30,000 range. I've been hearing a lot about this new Chevy Colorado. You know, so I went and looked at the new 2015 Chevy Colorado. And you know how those salesman type are, you know, they come out as soon as you get out of your car, they come up, hey, how you doing? I'm fucking Jimmy John. Can I interest you in buying a car today? And I'm like, I just want to look at this, you know, 2015 Colorado here. And for anybody who hasn't seen the Colorado video, if you look up Ameri King, Amriking, he's got all kinds of Chevrolet parodies. He does the Colorado, he does the Silverado, and he does the Camaro. He's just this fucking redneck that basically says, you know, if you drive a Ford, you suck a pile of dicks every morning. So anyways, I was like, yeah, man, I want to look at one of them Colorados. And he's like, all right, well, you know, here it is right here. We got this one in, and it's, you know, $30,000. And they're coming out with the new Z LMNOP 46 fucking off-road edition, but that's not till 2016. And I looked at it, I wasn't real impressed. The reason I was looking at like a mid-sized truck, I guess that's what that would be, is because Chad has a Tacoma, and we went dirt riding one day, and we rode in his truck, and I really liked it. So I was like, well, let me check out this Colorado. It's supposed to be the new fucking thing. So, it was alright. It was just kind of average. I drove it. They didn't have any V6s. They only had the 4-cylinder model. So then I was like, well, you know, let's go to fucking Nissan. Because I was looking at Toyota. Because I was looking at a Toyota Tundra previously. But those trucks are like 40 grand brand new. And it's a full size. And they get shit gas mileage. And tires are expensive and whatnot. But it's like, man, I really want a fucking full size truck. You know, a 4-door. Something I can have the family in. Something my wife would drive. I was like, while I'm here, I'm just going to look at a Tacoma again. They brought a Tacoma out, and it was 30 grand. So, we just looked at that, and then they had this big old jacked up fucking white Tundra. 6-inch lift on it, big fucking tires. Had subwoofer and a 1,000-watt Boston acoustic amp in it. All kinds of shit. I was like, this is my truck right here. Fuck yeah. And they wanted 30 fucking grand for it. So I drove it, and it felt really good. I don't know, it was everything I wanted, but it's pretty impractical, and I don't see myself doing much off-roading. I guess that kind of truck would be mostly good for like mudding and stuff. Because if you do much off-roading and it's that high, you'll probably fucking flip it over, and nobody likes to do that. So, woohoo! So on our way to the Toyota place, I stopped by Jeep. And they had this nice little jacked up 4-door Jeep there. And I've been working on a buddy of mine's Jeep. It's a Rubicon 2-door. I don't know the fancy letters, so you're going to have to excuse me on that. But he's got a Rubicon 4-door. It's got a LS3 motor in it. I've been working on that off and on. And I kind of like the Jeep thing, you know, it's pretty cool. I would do a shit ton off-roading in that if I had it. Woo! Yep, love this bike. Anyways, so it was all jacked up, had some big fucking tires on it. I mean, when I say all jacked up, it was like a 3 or 4-inch lift. I don't know, it was a skyjacker lift. You couldn't keep that thing on the fucking road, man. That thing wandered all over the place. I was like, well, while I'm out driving 16 fucking cars in one day, let me stop by Subaru. So I've always fucking wanted a STI. So I get there, I start looking at the STIs and the WRXs, and guess what? They're fucking 30 grand. The Jeep was 30 grand too. Who would have fucking thought? So I drive an STI. It was a used one. It had like 30,000 miles or something. And my wife and son are in the back, you know, and I'm whipping this bitch around corners. I'm fucking hitting the turbo on it and shit. I'm just having a good fucking time. Me and the salesman are up in the front just bullshitting. And I'm like, come on, honey, you gotta have a feel for this car. Like, isn't this a badass fucking car? And like, I figure if I get a car, I would just keep my pickup in case I had to haul bikes around or whatever. Because my pickup kind of does what I need it to do, you know, it's just an old piece of shit. So I thought, well, you know, practically, you know, if a turbocharged fucking 300 horsepower car is practical, but practically speaking, I only really need something to get me to and from work. And this is a nice fucking 4-door car. And it's not too small, you know, it fits me pretty well. And it's just a fun fucking car. And I could just see myself having a fucking ball in it. Well, here's a little fucking pro tip for you. If you're gonna buy a WRX, the WRX tires are like 100 and let's say 20 bucks a piece. If you're getting an STI, the STI factory tires are like $250 a piece. So keep that in mind. But anyways, the guy was trying to say, well, you know, he's like, I drive a WRX. And he's like, I feel like a WRX is a car that's a road car that can be a track car. And he's like, I feel like the STI is a track car that can be a road car. And the difference in the horsepower is about 40 horsepower. And I'm thinking, you know, I want the fucking balls out, motherfucker. I want the fucking badass one, you know? Like, because when I throw that bitch into a fucking corner, I want to feel the extra 40 horsepower. This is my car to fucking have fun and haul ass in. So anyways, I stayed there the longest bullshitting with this guy, and I'm sure my son and wife really fucking appreciated that. Because that's exactly what they wanted to do all fucking day on Saturday. So, yeah, I still don't know what I'm going to get, but regardless of what I'm going to get, I can tell you how much it's going to be. It's probably going to be about 30 grand. So, anyways, back to one of the other points I wanted to throw out to y'all. I was standing there with the salesman at the Chevy Colorado. I said, hey, y'all see the new Dodge commercial? And they're like, no. I was like, well, they're real proud of their rolled steel bed in their Dodge. You know, that's one of their selling points that they mention in one of the commercials. They say, we got a rolled steel bed, just like this fucking submarine that's going to come out of this ice right here in the middle of the fucking Arctic. Because, you know, rolled steel is where it's at. And I'm thinking to myself every time I see this commercial, really, you're going to try to sell me on a rolled steel bed? Like, how long have they been doing that? Well, I guess since, you know, Wood's pickup truck beds went from wood to steel, they've pretty much been rolled steel, you know? Who's going to watch that fucking commercial? Oh, man, I want one of them Dodges. It's got a fucking rolled steel bed. I don't know what all these other motherfuckers are using, but that's rolled steel, and that sounds fucking high-tech and fancy and durable. I want that shit. So, I don't know, that kind of threw me for a loop. And I was explaining this to the fucking salesman, like, hey, you see those fuckers over at Dodge with their fucking rolled steel bed? Like, holy shit, right? And they're looking at me like, huh? Like, they had no clue what my fucking point there was. So yeah, those are some people I really want to buy a fucking vehicle from. I guess, all they fucking know now is technology. They're like, well, you can hook your fucking phone to this and you can talk to the car and it'll do whatever the fuck you tell it to. And I'm like, well, I got fucking thumbs. I mean, I could do that myself. I don't feel like talking to a fucking computer like a jackass, especially if somebody's in there with me. Like, hey, fucking play White Zombie. And they're like, hey, check that out. That's fucking cool. Yeah, don't talk over me when I'm talking to my car, though. I mean, you know, you can't understand the both of us at one time. It just seems like a fucking hassle to me. We're going. So anyways, I'm glad I got this video out for y'all. I just haven't felt real fucking inspired to record anything. Felt like I didn't have anything to talk about. That's just me, because it seems like anything I talk about, y'all are pretty fucking into it, which I don't really get, but anyways, guys, it's been a nice ride. Nice little bullshit rant over fucking cars. And as always, thanks for being fans. Thanks for taking interest in my box mods and selling a few shirts and all that. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Talk to y'all later. Bye.